Hello, this is Harrison101 with you, with another video. And on this video I'm going to talk about yesterday's Singapore Grand Prix, live from Singapore, Indonesia. And what a great start again for the Ferraris, right from the get-go. I don't know what it is with the Ferraris that make them so quick off the line. I think it's got something to do, maybe they're more aggressive on the curves, or maybe they've just got the jump when it comes to acceleration off the line, or maybe Alonso and Massa practice their starts more often. I don't get it, but whatever it is, they keep jumping people off the start, and it is really, really impressive, because I think once again Alonso managed to get himself up from 5th to 3rd by the end of the opening sector of the track. Hamilton had a really bad start. He started from P4, got knocked down to 8th place. By the end of the 3rd place, even Michael Schumacher had passed him again, and everyone was thinking, oh no, are we going to get Schumacher-Hamilton round 2 from Monza here? But no, Hamilton definitely had the pace early on, but he just had a really bad start, and he got jumped by 3 or 4 guys. I think he had nowhere to go on the inside line at the start, and then 3 or 4 around the outside of him, I think. So once again, once Vettel established his lead, he had a 2.5 second lead by the end of the first lap, and he was just gone, I think, while everyone else was trying to focus on their own race. Button, Alonso 2nd, 3rd, and Webber in 4th. Vettel was just gone with the wind again, and once again, I don't think Vettel's that much faster than everybody else. I just think he gets into the least amount of trouble from the front, he just takes off. I mean, he's had 11 pole positions this year out of 14 races. So I mean, what does that tell you about the quality of his, quality of his car, and how robot-like his efficiency is? Webber versus Alonso was an interesting duel. That got really heated after the first safety car, which I'll talk about later. Hamilton, once again, he gets himself in trouble. I mean, he's picking these guys off from the midfield, the guys who overtook him from the start. Gets up to Felipe Massa, I believe, in 5th place at the time. Goes for a pass around the DRS zone, which is just after turn 3. I'll point it out to you and try an annotation on the video. But pulls off a DRS pass, has to go around the outside of him, and he tags Massa on the back, punches his rear tyre, and damages his front wing in the process. It's another Hamilton incident around that corner. And he did it last year with Mark Webber. I think he went on the inside and he clipped into Webber. Webber was able to keep going, but Hamilton had to retire. This time round, they both had to change. Go to pit stops and change. Hamilton had to get a new front wing, and Massa had to get a new rear tyre because it hit the damage and punctured his right rear. About 4 laps later, stewards investigated, and it turned out Hamilton also had to go for a drive-through penalty. Now, honestly, I'm not a big fan of Lewis Hamilton. I think he's very reckless, and I think he thinks he's the next Ayrton Senna. But I'll give him this. I don't think that was a drive-through penalty. I think that was just one of those 50-50 racing incidents where sometimes it can be hard to judge where to point the car after you're going at 180 miles an hour nearly. It was unfortunate, but I think it was very, very minor. I think that was a very, very harsh thing to, give a guy a drive-through for. I mean, he's already getting punished for having his front wing damaged, and that's going to cost him a pit stop, which is going to be about 25-30 seconds. So why have him go through another drive-through for causing a very minor collision in the grand scheme of things? I mean, maybe that's justice for Massa, but come on, really? I mean, I agree with Eddie Jordan after the pre-race coverage, post-race coverage. I really don't think that was a drive-through. I think that was a very, very harsh penalty for Hamilton. But, I mean, Hamilton seemed, to just plough through the field. I mean, he definitely had pace. If he didn't have such a bad start, and, obviously didn't have that crash, it would have been very interesting to see where he came out in the mix, because Hamilton had pace all race, and he was just picking off the mid runners, and I think the safety car incident definitely helped him out, him and Massa. I mean, Massa ended up coming back to get a point in the end for coming in 10th. Also, I mean, the safety car was caused by yet another Michael Schumacher incident, this time with Sergio Perez, and in this one, he's gone for a DRS pass on Sergio Perez at turn 4. he hasn't got him, but Perez, I think, seemed to come off the corner very slowly. He may have under-braked, or he may have over-braked, or maybe locked a tyre or something like that. But he definitely seemed to to go off the corner very slowly. Schumacher has tried to get a past him, and immediately going into that very tight right-hander straight afterwards. And I think Schumacher may have misjudged just how close he was to Perez's car. Drives up the rear wheel of Schumacher, and yeah, Schumacher goes into the wall. Obviously can't control the car. He's out. Safety car is called in. Perez able to keep going. But my goodness, I mean, when you've been driving for that long, like 20 years, surely you know where you are in relation to another car. Even when it's a course as tight as Singapore, since the street circuit, it's incredibly unforgiving. I don't know. I just couldn't see the logic in that one from Schumacher. I mean, you clearly have the pace on Perez. Just wait a lap and try and get him again, unless he makes another big mistake you can take advantage of. Singapore is not really a passing circuit because many of the corners are tight, and it's difficult to make those kind of passes on people. It just is. So, I think Schumacher shouldn't have done that. I mean, there was no further action taken, obviously, from the stewards, because Schumacher had already had to retire. It would be pointless to penalise him again. Take notes on the Hamilton incident there. But yeah, the safety car was called in. Vettel's lead was wiped out. But the thing was, Vettel used the back markers queued up behind him to his advantage on the restart. And he broke out a 2.5, 3 second lead in one lap, while the guys who were fighting for position, Button, Alonso, Webber, etc., all had to plough their way through the back markers. I think Vettel timed the jump perfectly, and again, he's just so smart, that guy. So yeah, he went on to dominate again and get that 12, 13 second lead again. Webber had passed Alonso on the first lap of the restart, very cleverly going into the triple chicane. Really caught Alonso off guard. I mean, Webber could be quality when he wants to be. Such a fantastic pass that was. And again, the safety car had given Hamilton a big chance to plough through the midfield again, which he did. Eventually coming home in 5th, which, to be honest, considering what he had gone through, he had 5 pit stops, a drive-through being one of them, and obviously an extra stop to change his front wing. I think he'll take that. I mean, I think he'll happily take 10 points for that. So, I mean, it keeps him kind of in the race for second in the championship, but you have to think, I think second place is going to be between either Webber, Alonso and Button. I think there's only 3 points between the 3 of them now. Speaking of Button, I mean, for a minute I thought we were going to get a rerun of Montreal where Button was getting everything out of the car. He was going like hellfire the last 10 laps, eking away into Vettel's lead, and because of all the back markers Vettel was lapping, Button was really closing in, and he really had a good chance of catching up. I mean, in the end, Vettel only won the race by 1.7 seconds. But my word, Button was on for another big one, and another upset, just like Montreal. I mean, one of the best races I've ever seen, and one of the greatest comebacks I've ever seen from Button, and he almost pulled it off again there. But Sebastian Vettel wins again and makes himself only 1 point short of winning the world title. Pretty darn sure he'll win it in Suzuka next week. This weekend. Like I said, only needs 1 point, so a top 10 finish from Vettel, and he is world champion. He's deserved it. He's been brilliant. He's been on the podium 13 times out of 14 races, and the one time he wasn't was a 4th place. So, I mean, just incredible. Consistency and reliability from Vettel. The car's been brilliant towards him, and he absolutely deserves it. So, congratulations to him. Also, again, the battle the battle for second is going to be very interesting as well. And I've got to give a shout out and some credit to Paul di Resta. Started the race on the Prime, the Prime compound tyre, but his strategy came into play perfectly at the end with having the faster Force India and eventually coming home in 6th place. Must have been pretty awkward for Anthony Hamilton, Lewis's dad, who now manages Paul di Resta after his own son gave him the chop. To see him only 1 position behind a 2007 or 2008 world champion in Lewis Hamilton. So, I mean, credit to Paul di Resta, great drive from him for Force India. So yeah, what did you think of the Singapore Grand Prix? Do you think Vettel will bring it home next week? What do you guys think of Jenson Button? And let me know what you thought of the race. I hope you enjoyed the gameplay of me and the Red Bull there. kind of struggled in this race because, as you may have seen, I lost my front wing, I think, on lap 2, so I was struggling the entire race. I couldn't really break free of Mark Webber behind me. But I think I really enjoyed the race. Nice challenge for me there against the Legend difficulty as well. First time I played against that difficulty as well. So, thank you very much for watching. I've been Andre Harrison. Thank you very much for watching. And I will catch you next time. Sayonara.
Great job. What a win.